Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Political Living Room. I am Karen. This is my living room. That's one of my guitars back there. I am a working musician, and I play primarily in the five boroughs of New York City and occasionally in New England and parts of New Jersey. So I'm out and about all the time. Welcome to the Political Living Room, and thank you for joining me for a little political chat. I got my beverage, got a little coffee here, and we are going to talk again about the migrant crisis. I find it utterly fascinating and an absolute train wreck. So, settle in, here we go. Okie dokie. Did you know that the kids who are coming here with their parents from Central America, South America, Haiti, and everywhere else don't have to show proof of vaccination in order to start school the way American children do? Hmm. 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 Little problematic, I think. Now, I know that some people are against vaccinations altogether. This is not a pro-vax or anti-vax video at all. I'm talking about American students being required to be vaccinated versus the migrant students not being required to be vaccinated. So they are extended the privilege of starting school pre-vax. And we're not just talking about COVID. We're talking about for all of the childhood diseases, which, we don't have a whole lot of those here. And so we don't see them very often. But you know what? They can kill you or make you blind. And as someone who teaches, hi there, I would prefer at the great and advanced age of 56 to not be exposed to something like diphtheria. I'm just saying. All right, so let's take a look at this article. Here we go. This says, alrighty, NYC migrants living in temporary shelters don't need vaccinations to initially enroll in public school. Now, here's the thing. If you're living in a congregate setting like that, it's much, much easier for all kinds of diseases to spread. So you've got people living in close quarters with one another who have come here from countries in which vaccinations are not mandatory, and they're all up on top of each other, and then they're going to take their unvaccinated selves into New York City schools. Lots of New York City school buildings are old, and the new ones, a lot of them, are also poorly ventilated. For the old ones, you've got these rooms, and I've taught in New York City for a very long time as well. A lot of the time, you've got very big windows, but for some reason, I don't know, this is something that seems particular to New York City public school classrooms. You got these big windows, and it can be absolutely airless in there. Not to mention the fact that you've got anywhere from 18 to 27 kids in the room most of the day, talking to each other, coughing on each other, sneezing on each other, accidentally spitting in each other's faces when they talk, and also doing the same thing to the teacher. Hi there. I could kind of live without that. I really could. You accept that if you work with little kids, you're going to get sick. You just accept that. Some adorable little person is going to have something very important to tell you. And when you bend down to talk to that little person, they are going to cough in your face or sneeze on you. It's going to happen. So somewhere between the second week of September And the fourth week of September, I will more than likely have a cold that I got from some adorable little child. It's just a thing. But in the United States, we've gotten used to being concerned about colds, maybe the flu, maybe COVID, which, well, let me not say it. It's YouTube, so, hey. Uh, but we don't worry about things like paxes of the small variety, or something like diphtheria, or measles, or scarlet fever. Why? Because the kids are vaccinated against it. So we don't have those things here. So this is a potential medical disaster. I have my thoughts on that, but this is YouTube. I'm going to have to start a Rumble channel so I can really talk about what I'm thinking. But let's keep going. Here we go. This says, migrants living in temporary shelters in New York City don't need vaccinations to initially enroll in the New York City public school system. Although, if you're an American, you do. Privilege. This is what it looks like. Officials said during a press conference on Wednesday that the migrants living in temporary shelters have a certain timeline that the vaccinations need to be obtained by once they are in school, according to Fox 5. Anybody who's dealt with New York City bureaucracy for more than 5 minutes knows that the timeline is BS. Okay? This is not going to be enforced. It's just not going to be. This is nonsense. You're going to have kids in June that were supposed to be vaccinated by the beginning of October who still have not been vaccinated. That's just what's going to happen. Consider that the New York City public school system has a hard time supplying schools with paper and pencils. Okay? And there's no money in this for anybody. So this is the kind of thing that is going to be an additional responsibility for some already probably overburdened and or incompetent bureaucrat to manage. So if there's no money there, and this is an extra for some individual, and what they have to do is go through the school rosters and then throw the migrants out because they haven't gotten vaccinated. Well, you tell me how well you think that's going to work. Okay, let's keep going. New York City Schools Chancellor David Vaxx said that since July 2022, around 19,000 students living in temporary housing have enrolled in New York City schools. 19,000, good Lord. That's an interesting number. Living in temporary housing. Wouldn't that also include homeless American students? So do the homeless American students have to have the vaccination, whereas the homeless migrant students don't? I'd like to know that. Vaxx said, we have room for the students. No, they don't. No, they don't. One of the ongoing problems in New York City public schools is crowding in classrooms. You just assume they're going to blow right past the class cap, right? If the cap is supposed to be 18, you know you're going to have 22. If it's 22, you know you're going to have 27. If it's 27, you know you're going to have 30. So they have room insofar as you can cram another desk in the room and you can shove another kid in that desk. But as far as operating a well-functioning public school system, no, they don't. I started teaching I was 24, about to turn 25. So it was 1991. First job teaching kindergarten. Absolutely loved it. 26 kids. 26! Don't get me started here. Okay. My neighborhood that has recently gentrified burns down all the time. This is constant. Let's keep going. All right. So now this is an article from February. I thought that this was pretty interesting because I did not realize that this had been going on for so long. Check this out. Migrant students in NYC schools without proof of vaccinations. And this is from February 4th, 2023. So Now check this out. Let's look at this. So this says that this influx apparently has been going on since July 2022. So for over a year. And then we've got this New York Post article from February 4th, 2023. So let me ask you a question. I'm just throwing stuff out here. Let me ask you a question. So, didn't we have a lockdown just recently in which we were supposed to be hiding and protecting ourselves from a deadly illness? And then we had to wear masks for a long period of time. In some places, the mask mandates are coming back, and in others, they never even really went away, right? So, how does it make sense in crowded New York City classrooms to bring in children who could, through no fault of their own, be carrying potentially deadly diseases when we are just recovering from lockdowns that we had to submit to from a previous deadly disease? How does this make sense? I can't help but wonder if, and again, this sounds like some conspiracy theory, yada, yada, which I don't particularly like to indulge in. However, it seems more than coincidental to me that the New York City government is about to allow a bunch of unvaccinated kids into New York City public schools when all of this yada, 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 blah, blah, blah about masks is starting up again. It just seems peculiar to me. Okay, let's keep going. Let's take a look at this article. Here we go. I'm going to make this a little bigger here so I can actually read it. It says, the flood of migrant families into New York City is forcing schools to accept children who lack required vaccinations and has possibly led to one outbreak already. This is back in February. You think we're going to see more of this? You think? I think. I wonder how many more veteran teachers are going to be like, yeah, I'm not doing this anymore. Screw this. So the kids are coming in here, they're coughing all over the place. Now I got freaking who knows what. And yeah, no, bye. I'll take early retirement. Buy me out. Bye. Okay, let's keep going. The Simon Baruch Middle School in Gramercy Park had a chickenpox case, according to a January 25th notice from the principal, which said students not vaccinated for the illness could not attend school. And you know, there's always at least one or two parents who are like, well, she's not really that sick, so I brought her in, and it's okay for her to be here because I said so. Right? Child is covered in whatever the hell. I had a kid when I was teaching kindergarten, little blonde boy. You could see the ringworm on him when he was coming down the hall. Big patch. And I was like, what's he got? Oh, God, he's got ringworm. There's always one. Everybody in that room got ringworm, including me. This was in May. It didn't go away till August. Lord have mercy. You know, somebody's going to send their kid in there with the chicken pox. And then the kid is always a little social butterfly that wants to go around and talk to everybody and wants to hang out and wants to come up to your desk and tell you all about their weekend, right? That one. A parent at the school said after the announcement, 5 migrant children were absent for a few days from the class in question. When you are talking now about hundreds of children entering a school and coming from countries where we know the same childhood vaccinations are not available, it's hard not to see where vulnerable families could be put at risk. Everybody's family is a vulnerable family. Everybody. That teacher up there is vulnerable. For the love of God. But we know that teachers are viewed as disposable in New York City. So, again, don't get me started. Oh my God, that would have to be a whole channel. The top city health official recently told the city council that a surprising number of migrant children who had never had a single shot were arriving in the Big Apple. Surprising? Surprising to whom? To who? Who's surprised by this? I'm not surprised by this. It's ridiculous. Of course, one of the reasons these people are leaving these countries is because their healthcare system is even trashier than ours. So, of course, they're not going to have the vaccinations. I would say that for the small number of them that are fleeing political violence, I would imagine that getting out with your head attached to your shoulders probably takes priority over getting your shots. Irrespective of the reasons behind these children not being vaccinated, this is dangerous. The government of New York City is intentionally putting teachers and other students at risk. Now, you could argue that, well, the American kids have had their vaccinations, and so they're not going to be at risk. In every group, there are a few kids who cannot be vaccinated because they have autoimmune conditions that won't allow it. And so those children are extremely vulnerable. And also, just because the kid doesn't get the disease doesn't mean they're not going to carry it. So this is a disaster waiting to happen. Now, that might be overstated a little bit. It might be small, like this outbreak of chickenpox. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about chickenpox. You get chickenpox, you're very itchy, you have a fever, it's awful, then it goes away. But it hides out in your nervous system, and you get shingles when you get to be my age. As far as I remember, I haven't had chickenpox, nor have I been vaccinated for it. But I'm at a good age to get a really wicked case of it that could possibly kill me, because it's more, it hits you harder when you get older. So you've got veteran teachers who are in their 50s and early 60s. All right, let's say late 40s to early 60s. Been doing the job for a long time. Aces. There's no situation in the classroom that they haven't encountered. They can hit the ground running, come in there and teach like nobody's business. These are the ones who are the most vulnerable to the worst effects of these diseases. And so this is a way of Eric Adams telling his veteran teachers he doesn't give a shit about them. It's very, very infuriating. All right, I'm going to leave this here. Thanks again for hanging out with me in the political living room, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, have a lovely rest of the day. I'll see you later.